I stand before you today to narrate and reflect upon an extraordinary tale, a story that at first sounds like something from folklore, but is in fact a living, breathing reality. Is the story titled, Courageous Rescue Team Fights Giant Python to Save Innocent Cow. This title carries within it drama, conflict, bravery, compassion, and above all, the affirmation of the value of life. It is not just the retelling of an incident where humans confronted a dangerous reptile. It is, more importantly, a celebration of courage, teamwork, respect for nature, and the bond between humans and the animals that depend upon us. Let us begin by imagining the scene. A peaceful rural field where cows graze quietly under the morning sun. The air is calm, and the rustle of grass is the only sound. But in this tranquility lurks a silent threat, a giant python, an apex predator, slithering stealthily toward its prey. This is not a villain in the human sense. The python acts according to its nature. For the snake, hunger drives its action. But for the cow, an innocent, defenseless creature, it is a matter of life and death. As the massive serpent coils around the unsuspecting animal, the villagers cry out in fear. A call goes out for help. And here is where the story turns from tragedy into inspiration. A rescue team, ordinary men and women with extraordinary courage, rushes to the scene. They know the risks, yet they do not hesitate. They fight not for glory, not for wealth, but to save the innocent. The act of confronting a giant python is not trivial. This reptile possesses immense strength. It can constrict with crushing power, capable of suffocating even the strongest beasts. To fight such a creature without heavy weapons is to put one's own life on the line. What then gives the rescuer strength? It is courage, that rare quality that does not mean absence of fear, but the determination to act despite fear. Courage transforms ordinary individuals into protectors. Courage turns hesitation into action. And courage, when multiplied in a team, becomes an unstoppable force. This rescue team embodies that courage. In their struggle against the python, they remind us that bravery is not only displayed on battlefields or in grand arenas. Sometimes the truest bravery is shown in the quiet corners of the world, in a field beside a cow, under the burning sun. Now let us look beyond courage to the deeper motivation of the rescuers, compassion. The cow is not a warrior, nor a powerful beast. It is gentle, dependent, and vulnerable. Its life matters not because it can fight, but because every life is precious. In saving the cow, the rescuers uphold a principle that has guided humanity at its best: the responsibility to protect those who cannot protect themselves. This compassion transcends species. It reminds us that humanity is not defined only by how we treat each other, but also by how we treat animals, the environment, and the voiceless. To care for a cow, to risk life for it, is to affirm that the value of life is universal. But courage and compassion alone would not suffice against a creature as formidable as a giant python. The rescue succeeded because of teamwork. Each member of the rescue team played a role. Some distracted the serpent, others pulled at its massive coils, still others comforted the struggling cow. They communicated without chaos, trusting one another completely. In this harmony of effort lies another lesson. Teamwork multiplies human potential. Alone, one person cannot fight a giant snake, but united many can. This principle applies not only in rescue missions, but in every aspect of human life, in families, in communities, in nations. When we cooperate, when we share risk and responsibility, we achieve the impossible. This story also opens a larger discussion: the relationship between humans and nature. The python is not evil. It is part of the natural order. It hunts because that is its instinct. In saving the cow, the rescuers did not act to destroy nature, but to protect a vulnerable life. The challenge for humanity is always this balance: to respect the wild, yet safeguard the creatures, both domestic and wild, that depend on us. True heroism lies not in conquering nature, but in coexisting with it, managing conflicts with wisdom and compassion. The rescue team, in releasing the cow while handling the snake with care, symbolizes this balance. From this dramatic incident, we can draw profound lessons. 1. Courage is contagious. When one rescuer rushed forward, others followed. Courage spreads, igniting bravery in hearts that might otherwise hesitate. 2. Every life has worth. By saving a cow, the team demonstrated that compassion should not be selective. A life, however small, however voiceless, is still sacred. 3. Teamwork conquers the impossible. No individual could have managed this rescue alone, but together they overcame a seemingly unbeatable adversary. 4. Respect for nature must remain central. The python is not the enemy. It is part of creation. The challenge is to act with fairness, saving one life without unjustly destroying another. 5. Stories of bravery inspire generations. This tale will be told in villages, schools, and communities, motivating others to stand firm in the face of fear. Let's reflect more broadly. How often in our societies do we face giant pythons? They may not always take the form of snakes, but they exist as challenges: poverty, injustice, violence, disease, ignorance. And how often do we see innocent cows? They may not always be animals, but rather the weak, the poor, the oppressed, the forgotten. This rescue story, though literal, is also metaphorical. It urges us to be rescuers in our own spheres, to confront the challenges of our time with courage, compassion, and teamwork. When poverty coils itself around families, let us act as rescuers. When violence threatens communities, let us unite to defend the innocent. When ignorance suffocates minds, let us shine the light of education. The giant python, then, becomes a symbol of all that endangers life and dignity. The cow becomes a symbol of innocence and vulnerability. The rescuers become symbols of hope and action. At this point, let us not forget the individuals themselves. The rescuers, whose names may never appear in history books, deserve to be remembered. They are not celebrities, not generals, not rulers. They are ordinary people who performed extraordinary deeds. And herein lies another lesson. Greatness is not confined to the powerful. Greatness emerges when ordinary people act with extraordinary courage and compassion. Any of us can be great, not through wealth or fame, but through action that saves, protects, and uplifts. Why focus so much on the cow? Some might ask, why risk human life for an animal? The answer lies in symbolism. In many cultures, the cow represents gentleness, nourishment, patience, and motherhood. It provides milk, sustains families, and serves humanity without complaint. To save a cow, therefore, is not just to save an animal. It is to honor values of service, patience, and sustenance. Moreover, the cow represents the voiceless, those who cannot plead for themselves. By rescuing it, the team declared that even the silent deserve guardians. Ladies and gentlemen, the story of the courageous rescue team is not just entertainment. It is a call to action. Let us be courageous in our own lives, facing our challenges without surrender. Let us extend compassion not only to humans, but to animals, the environment, and all forms of life. Let us practice teamwork, for no great achievement is ever the work of one alone. Let us strive for balance with nature, acting as protectors, not destroyers. If a handful of rescuers in a village can risk their lives to save a cow, what excuse do we, with greater resources and knowledge, have for ignoring the larger cows of our world? The vulnerable, the poor, the endangered? In conclusion, the title Courageous Rescue Team Fights Giant Python to Save Innocent Cow is more than just words. It is a narrative of courage, compassion, teamwork, balance, and inspiration. It is a reminder that true heroism is not about medals, wealth, or power. True heroism is about standing up when others hesitate, about protecting the vulnerable, about uniting against overwhelming odds. May this story inspire us all to be rescuers in our own way, to fight the giant pythons of life to save the innocent cows, and to leave behind a legacy not of fear, but of courage, compassion, and hope.